More than half of adults in the United States have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, and that means many more people are heading back or will soon return to the office. And for some, it might be the first time back after nearly a year working remotely from home, and this is affecting people in so many different ways. One of the more common issues people are facing is anxiety. Here to talk about how the workplace return is affecting people and what folks can do to reduce their anxiety is resilience expert Dr. Deborah Gilboa. Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning, because there are so many people who, for whom this is a reality, but you're coming back to your office setting. What are you say the best way to embrace change, embrace the changes to the status quo is adopting a new normal? What does that mean?
We have spent a year, some of us, at home trying to picture what it would be like, and sure that we knew what it would look like to come back into the office. One of the things we need to really open ourselves to is that a lot of things will be different. Change is really hard for our brains. So if we open to the likelihood that most of the things that we expect will look a little different, it will be much easier for us to enjoy the experience and really embrace what's happening.
I really like this, because you also point out there are some key factors, right? When you're getting back to your back to work life, it's going to look very different depending on who you are. And you point out different factors. One of which I love is the question, who is the boss of you? And the other one is, where is your comfort level? Can you explain that to us?
Well, for us to be able to navigate change, we need a few things. And one of those things is autonomy. We need to feel that things were our decision, at least in part. So when you decide, okay, I'm going back into this job in this setting, and maybe you've been working, I hope, this whole time, but the setting is going to be different than it's been for the last months, you have to understand that there are people at your work who probably have a different, maybe bigger picture than you do. So they may have put rules in place or be trying out different policies that to you don't make a lot of sense. So understanding what you're going to be willing to handle, where your comfort level is, and at the exact same time saying, you know what, if I'm going to trust my leadership, I'm going to give them a little time to figure this out. I'm not going to say, oh, how it is the first day is how it's always going to be, and I hate it or I don't hate it.
This is so interesting, because here, even on the set, we've all come back at different times. But even some things that are so perfunctory now, like the circle on the ground that says stay 6 feet apart, or plexiglass, right. That all happened over time. It wasn't just automatic. So these new rules, I think some people adapt to them more quickly than others. But talk to us about this new expectation, because your workplace may look completely different than when you left it.
And if you expect it to be exactly how it was, you will feel shocked and betrayed and frustrated and like this absolutely can't work. So I think two things are important. One is to recognize that there will be some changes that make it feel not like you expected it to feel. And also, whatever you're dealing with in the first week isn't how it will always be. You might remember when we were wiping down all of our groceries and people were trying to leave packages outside. We now know we don't need to do that. So we'll try some things at first, and it might be even more pushed to the extreme than it feels to you like it needs to be, and let people take a little time to figure out where that pendulum will sort of settle in the middle.
I know you say give yourself time, that what day 1 looks like will look different than perhaps what day 7 will look like, but what are some other things that people can do to reduce their anxiety?
There are a couple of things that can be really helpful. One is understanding that good, clear communication makes a big difference. Clear communication with yourself. What's your self-talk like about what you can handle and what you can't handle? With your colleagues, with your boss, with the people that might work for you. Good, clear, transparent communication helps people navigate change. And the other is remembering, boy, when I'm at work and something isn't the way I want it, or I don't like how I feel, what can I do to manage that discomfort? Given our new guidelines or our new parameters, what can I still do? I used to maybe stop at my friend's desk and sit on the edge of their desk and talk to them. And maybe now that's not acceptable, but what is? What could I do? Is there music I could bring? Is there someone I could message? What helps me to regulate myself when I don't like what's happening around me right away?
I love all this. This is, I think, a work in progress. Look, that's someone right now saying, Dr. Gilboa, I went back to my office. Thank you for the helpful tips. Thank you so much for your insight. I think this is a conversation we're going to continue to have moving forward as more people do return to this new normal, or whatever we're going to call it.
Right. Thank you.
Absolutely.